Hello everyone and welcome to my channel again. We are here for another weekly journal. I am happy to discuss with you about in today's weekly journal. We are answering Marine Sophie questions about how to become a designer, but the steps that you need to do before, I don't know, social media, website, where to post your patterns and so on, what you will need actually to do before that. And I hope you'll find this interesting I will tell you a bit about how I was doing things before. She also, Marine also have a questions about has a question about grading a pattern, how you do that, how to make that pattern possible in multiple sizes. And besides that, of course, I will show you a few things that I was working on this week. Don't worry, there are not too many things. So I hope that this video will be interesting for you, or for those of you who wants to step into this designing or designer world. So okay, my name is Katarina and I'm the person behind by Katarina Designs, and I share with you crochet tutorials, sometimes knitting tutorials, and of course I'm happy to come here weekly and chat with you about crochet, showing you what my projects are, what I am working on, and of course talking about crochet, answering some questions, maybe do some short tutorials if you have some suggestion about or question about how to do certain things. So if this sounds like something you'll want to follow and you will want to watch, then please subscribe to my channel. And now let's just get started with our weekly journal. Okay, so first thing first, we will start with what I was working on, and I am happy to finally tell you that I released the pattern for the Good Vibes cardigan, and it has a pattern, a written pattern, a free version of the on the website, and also a video tutorial here on YouTube. So if you're interested in making this cardigan or see how you can make this cardigan, then I will let all the links into the description box below. This was the first thing, and even if I thought that it will take me less time because I was having almost everything prepared, but yeah, I had some technical issue with uploading the videos and so on, so things that sometimes can happen. Now, some other things that I was working on, and I know that everybody was really excited about the yoke swatch that I showed you last time, and I started to work on a yoke. I know that I posted a bigger progress, but this is because I needed to frog the entire piece, because I started with it wasn't a correct number of stitches. Because of this 1 and 1 stitches that I'm using in my mosaic crochet pattern, to be able to make the increases I needed a certain number of stitches, not the certain number, but at least to be able to divide that number into even number of stitches. When doing my increase sections, I needed like an even number of stitches to be able to continue with this pattern 1+1, which I wasn't able to do it while I was starting with the first number of stitches. Now it is a bit wider, the neckline, but I don't think it's that a big issue, and I decided to use in the end this bright green. I paired with the yellow that was into the section underneath, and I will also use the orange because I wanted to use all the colors that I get. Maybe I will be able to finish the sweater without buying some other yarn, so that's why I decided to use it. Some of you were happy with the results, saying that the colors are popping nicely, so I decided to use them in the end. And for the ribbing at the neckline, I used one of the colors that were not matching with any of the other colors, because I told you that I have two browns, so I said that it will be nice to work it as a ribbing. Now I'm pretty excited with this project, but I have a doubt that the math, or not a doubt, I'm concerned that the math for this pattern will be crazy. So I don't want to, I just want to enjoy the process so far on making the sweater, because it's really delightful when I'm looking at it and how the stitches are going together. And every time I'm working with colors, I cannot wait to just work and work and work to get to the next section and see how the colors are looking together. So this is amazing about this kind of projects, because it keeps you connected with it and you want to work more and more and more and more. But yeah, so this is the sampled so far, and I think it's looking nice. We'll see. And while I was working on it, I was thinking also maybe to work some gradient colors. I don't know, you know that we're talking about monochromatic scheme from the color wheel, and I was thinking to choose a palette from one color and to try to make that transition into this pattern from light to dark. I don't know, it might be a thing. It was just thinking that it would be nice to have like a gradient sweater like this. I don't know, too many ideas and too less time. I have only 3 projects I was working on, except this cardigan that I worked so bad to finish the pattern. I worked a few more rows on the back panel of the cozy sweater, which might have a different name by the time I will finish it. I know it's wide, it will be an oversized sweater, and I hope that I will finish it soon. I do have a few more rows to finish the back panel, and then I will jump into the sleeves. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with how cozy this sweater looks like, and I know I will wear it a lot. Then my third and last project that I was working on is the project I started with the Expression Fiber Arts yarn. You know that I showed you the yarn in one of the weekly journals, and now that I'm making this, I don't want to keep it as a surprise anymore, and I will put over here what pattern I'm remaking using this amazing gorgeous yarn. So yeah, it's the big lamb blouse, which I designed a few years back, and Shandi from Expression Fiber Arts chose this design, and I'm happy she did, because I do have some of the older design that I want to remake and give them a new vibe, a new refresh. You know that I was talking about it for so long. So I'm happy that Big Lamb Blouse will be one of the projects that I will remake. Even if it has a video tutorial, I started to film again the process. So it will be a brand new pattern, a brand new tutorial, and I hope that you will enjoy it. And there might be some updates in the pattern because now trying to following the same pattern, I'm not sure about some section, and I do think that some section needs to be more explained why are we doing that. So because it has an interesting shape, this is more like a poncho blouse. So yeah, there will be some updates into the pattern as well. So these were the things that I was working on this week. I have to admit that the yoke took me a long time, a lot of time, because I just wanted to, okay, it's not working, why is not working? At some point I was doing the increases because on the swatch I was just hoping that it will work to make the increases, I don't know, to keep more rows in between increasing and maybe making only one row increasing at every other stitch, because it was looking nice to have those V's nicely one next to each other. It was looking nice, but unfortunately I don't think it will work because there will be too many stitches to add, and it will look like a skirt, like it will take like some wavy shape. I will put a photo or something over here to see how it was looking. So I will have to rethink this increase pattern because definitely it won't work. I don't want, maybe I was hoping, because that's why I was keep working, because at some point if you're working a circle and you made the increases and you see that it's curling, the edges are getting curly, if you're continuing working without increasing, at some point it will get flat. But I think even if this could happen with my previous sample, the problem was that I don't think I will have enough rows to finish the yoke to make it flat again. So that's why I will reconsider the increase pattern, and I hope that this time will work. It won't be with those V's one next to each other because there are too many stitches. So yeah, I hope in the end it will look nice. I think I will work for the rest of the day on this because I'm really happy. I also posted here on the let me bring that into the shorts, because Jenna Yarn from Canada sent me this gorgeous yarn. Is a tweed worsted yarn, and it's beautiful, and I want to make a sweater with it. And I was doing some short video with the sketches that I made, trying to figure out if I want to use color blocks or stripes, and I couldn't decide yet because the opinion and suggestion were so either stripes, either blocks, color blocks. Some of you love the blocks, some of you love the stripes. Here I think on YouTube more people said that will look nice in blocks of colors, but I think on my Instagram account most of the people love the stripes. And also Jenna Yarns posted my reel or my short video to her account and in her stories, and apparently 72% of the people wanted stripes. So now I do have to decide, but I had a great idea. I'm so sorry I couldn't I don't remember the name, but it was to use blocks and in the bottom part to use the stripes. So I think it will be a great idea. She did the effort to just print screen my my video, well, it was a transition between blocks and stripes, or reverse, I don't remember, and keeping the image with blocks in the top part and stripes in the bottom, and I really love the concept, so maybe I will try that, because I have to be honest, between blocks and stripes I do love more the blocks. So it would be a great idea to start with the blocks, continue with stripes, and then maybe if I don't like it, to just make an entire block in the bottom. I do have an issue with this because I don't know how I will have enough yarn, but yeah, we'll see what it will be. Okay, so these were the projects that I was working on, and now that I'm kind of released with relieved with the fact that I posted this pattern with the Good Vibes cardigan, because every time I'm working on a pattern, somehow it's like keeping me, it keeps me doing this and this and this and this, working only on the pattern, because it's taking a lot of time, even if you're not thinking about that. That most of the time is that to make the garment, it's not like that. So there are so many things to do the math, to then to put everything together. I'm making charts into every of my design where I think that the chart will be useful. Then with the video tutorial, you need to edit everything, to put everything together, and voiceover, because I'm making the tutorials also in Romanian, so it's taking me a lot of time. But anyways, I'm not complaining about it, only that I wish I could have more hours in a day, by the time I'm finishing a project to the time that I'm actually posted as a pattern and as a video tutorial, to be shorter. But yeah, this is it. I cannot do it otherwise. Okay, so now I will take the rest of the video to talk about design and designer and how to do this designing thing. I hope it won't be too long, because I don't feel like I have a structure in telling you these things, because I don't know, it's just explaining and telling you how I did it, and maybe this will inspire you to do the same. So let's talk about designing and garments and how to do this job. Okay, so first of all, in this video I will try to answer Marina questions as best as possible. We won't get into how to sell patterns, where to sell them, what platforms to use, where you should share your project. We will talk because I think that this, and I hope that I understood correctly, I think this is what Marin wanted, to just talk about the process that is getting from beginning basically until all that period before actually getting to publish about your design, about your pattern. And I think is the most important part, because this is what it makes you a designer. Then what you're sharing, and is more like, if you're doing this job that we are talking about before and up to writing a pattern, the other part is marketing. So if you're thinking of two different jobs, well, there are two different jobs. So this is the designing part and the most important part, and then you can hire a person to do the marketing for you. I'm just joking, but it's true that it's a different thing. So now we will start with the beginning, and it's my personal opinion, this is a disclaimer, I don't think that other people cannot do that, but it's my personal opinion. And I want to tell you if you're good to become a designer or not, if you're meant to be a designer or not. And are a few things that I see at myself, and I can see on other people around me, and I do encourage those people to start maybe to think on doing this designing job. And why? If you, every time you're trying to follow a pattern, you cannot, meaning that after reading what it's all about, you're just putting yourself in there and, oh, I think I will do better like this. Oh, maybe that. Yeah, I know how to do far, and you're not reading far away. But maybe I will add this over here. So it's your personal touch in this, in that pattern, and transforming into something. Even if in the end, the end result is the same as the sample of the designer, but you didn't follow the pattern, like meaning row by row, stitch by stitch. You just did your thing, and you just look at it, read through it, and then you know what to do. Also, if you are able to look at a photo with a garment or something, and you immediately, I can do that, without having a specific pattern. So if your thoughts are like this, then you should try to start becoming a designer, or start to design things, if this is what you want, of course, because maybe you don't want to do this as a job or as something. But I have to tell you that I never was able to follow a pattern. Always I was, well, at the beginning I didn't understand what the pattern says, because I didn't know so many things, like in terms or something like that. But I wasn't able to follow a pattern, and it was the same with tutorials on YouTube. I wasn't having the patience to just look through everything. I was just jumping to the key points, and then I was recreating myself that thing. So I think it's something, when you are creative and you are able to figure out a few things, then maybe it will be an idea to start designing. Again, it's my personal opinion. I'm not saying that other people that worked until now, followed patterns and so on, they are not able, because this following patterns, being a tester, maybe it might be a good practice for you to understand how the garment construction, to understand so many things, and then you can be able to become a designer and do it by yourself. But I'm telling about those people who are creative enough to just put their things, and they own etiquette to something that they are making. So if you're able to, I don't know, to substitute yarns without any pressure, okay, I can do this, I will work it in cotton because I think it will work better, and you know what to do with it, maybe to switch hook size, to work it differently, I don't know. If you have this kind of things, I think it's a great attribute for a designer. Now, besides that, if you decided to go and became a designer, then you will have the first thing you need to do. You will have to design something. And to do that, maybe you already have some ideas, because otherwise why to think of becoming a designer if you don't have any ideas? on what you want to make. So if you don't have ideas, you can look around. I don't know, I love Pinterest for these types of inspiration, because you can find from everything from the knitting apparel, crochet apparel, maybe other things that are just store-bought clothes that you can get inspired. As I said, you can find sewing patterns that you can use to understand the construction of a garment, and to just recreate the fabric then in crochet and try to make that garment. So if you have already an idea, then the first thing that you'll have to do is to work the sample. So I think this is the first step that you want to do. Okay, after choosing the yarn, after choosing what you want to do, I think the easiest way is to make the sample. Of course, it's better to, while making your sample, with all the mistakes, with all the frogging, with all the process that it comes here, to take notes. If you have at the end, after finishing the sample, if you have enough notes during the process of making your garment, then it will be easier for you during the pattern. You will understand better what you did there, and it will be easier for you to write the pattern and get into writing the pattern. Now, what I'm about to talk here, it's really, both things are really closely related. The thing with grading a pattern, and with what is the process at the beginning to become a designer. Okay, so after you have your sample, then you will need to start grading, because it's better to have your design in multiple sizes. It doesn't need to be necessarily up to 5 extra large, and I'm telling you that because the shape of the body is changing. It's pretty easier to grade a pattern up to 2 extra large. That is why I started with this, with up to 2 extra large, because the proportion between bodies are quite proportional. So then with the bigger sizes, especially if you are working your sample in size small, as I am doing it, then to go from size small to a size 4 extra large or so on, it's kind of a bit difficult. It depends on the design itself, it's true, because not all the design are difficult to grade. So if you're doing your sample, and if you're doing your sample thinking that it will be a pattern and you are a beginner, I will choose an easy construction, an easy to write pattern. For example, the top-down yoke patterns for the sweaters are really easy to make. I mean, I think it's the easiest way to make a sweater. Even if you're thinking that it's not, it is. Especially because you can try it on, you can always adjust the length. You just work a few rows on the yoke, and you don't like the increases, then you can undo and redo those two rows, so it's easy to make. But the math behind is crazy, so it's very difficult to write the pattern afterwards. So, and usually, well, maybe I'm not doing it correctly, but I cannot have that pattern written like, I don't know, for sizes small you're doing 5 rows, for size medium, large, and so on you're doing 10. No, I always, when I'm working a top down, it's basically a different pattern for each size, and it's crazy because I need to calculate each size individual before having a pattern. So I will choose a simple construction, panel construction, if you want to make a sweater, or I don't know, make a skirt, because it's easy to grade. You will have as reference only the hips. So try to find easy easy designs, easy construction. That will be easier because in panels sweater you have only a rectangle that you need to make it smaller or bigger, and then everything it's easier. So after choosing your design, choosing to be an easy construction, then you made your sample, then you can go to grade. And here I will answer another question of what to use. You will use as reference standard measurements, body measurements for women or men or kids if you're doing something for kids. And you can find this on Yarn Council. This website is a resource or a tool full of resources for designers, for makers. You can find important information about yarn weight, about crochet hooks, what hooks, needles, what to use. So there are so many there are so many useful informations there that it will be a great start for you to go there and take what you need. So there you will find a table or a few pages, a PDF document that you can download. At least it was before when I was doing that, and then you can use those measurements to as a reference for your sample. So after that, after having your sample, you need to establish a few things in your sample, like because you will need to extrapolate those things to the other sizes. For example, the ease, the room between the body and the garment, it needs to be the same because people in bigger sizes will want, if they decided to make your design, they will want to obtain the same look, the same fit of the garment. So you need to establish the ease and apply that ease to all the sizes. If you use for yourself as for a sweater, for example, as reference the bust measurement, then you need to use the same reference in other sizes. For the bust, if you have like 88 centimeter bust, like in size small is the one that I have, and my sweater measure 100 centimeters in circumference, this means that I have 12 centimeters positive ease, which I will have to apply for the bust measurement of each size. And then after having those measurements, this is what I'm doing, using as reference the standard measurements, calculating the fit to be the same as my sample, and then I'm calculating the actual measurements of the final garment in centimeters, and then I'm using my gauge swatch to just transform those centimeters into stitches. And also Marina asked me if I'm using something special to grade my patterns, and I think I said it before. Maybe there are a few things. Maybe I could automate everything, and I don't know, to just have one thing and then to just put some numbers and to calculate everything automatically for my next design. I think this is possible, but I didn't have time to think about it and to make this process being more automated. So I'm using spreadsheet, even if it's Excel or maybe it's a Google spreadsheet. I'm using it, putting everything, all the measurements or the standard measurements into the table, and then calculating according with my sample. I'm calculating the final measurements of the sample in the other sizes, and then I have another table when I'm transforming everything into stitches and rows according with my gauge. I know it sounds like easy this way. This is the structure that I have in my Excel worksheet for every design. So I have standard measurements, actual measurements, and then basically the pattern in numbers. But as I said, it depends on the stitch pattern, on the design, on the construction. Sometimes it's easier to do this, sometimes it's difficult, sometimes you need to think about each size. But if you're starting with if your desire is to design garments, then you can start with simple construction. And don't be fooled about the thing that is too simple, because this is what I was thinking at the beginning. This is too simple. This can be done by anybody. If you don't need a pattern for that, it's just so easy to work 5 panels and then sew them together and have a sweater. Don't think like that, because this is not true. Every design is even if it has the same construction or something, every design is beautiful in its way, and it's unique in its way, either through the stitches that you're using, either through the finishing, either to the fit, either to the yarn that you are using. So there are so many things that can change a simple construction sweater that you'll be amazed. So yeah, so this will be the things that you will need to do. First is to work the sample, and then starting with the sample you can calculate and establish the pattern for the other sizes. This is the easiest way, of course, that you can do all the math before starting working on the sample, but I usually I don't do that, because I try to do that a few times, and I'm not saying that it's not working, but it for me is a waste of time. And I will tell you what, because every time I'm changing my thoughts, and my ideas many ideas, they are coming while I'm working on the thing, and basically I'm changing so many things during the process of making that it might be all the math that at the beginning is not matching anymore. So that's why if I'm losing time to just calculate something that I want to use in the end, then I'm seeing it as a waste of time. If you're doing all that math and then you're following the things exactly, then it's not, because basically you just finished the sample and you already have the pattern and you're ready to go and write it in and so on. So this will be the thing, that just make stuff, take notes as many as you can, use the tools that you have for standard body measurements to grade your pattern. Use simple designs at the beginning, because it will be easier to write the pattern, and then after having a few patterns, you're just ready to jump in and sell them and put them out there, let people know about what you're making. Yeah, so I think this is it. I don't know, I hope that but anyways, I'm open to any suggestion and question as usual. And if this sounds unclear for you, or maybe I was talking nonsense, then please let me know. Another thing that Maureen was asking was about brands and how to approach the brands, and how is this things going on. And she was asking if you should email them. And I will say yes, you need to reach out, but I won't say email. I think Instagram is a great source for connecting with yarn brands, with magazine, with whatever you want, because everybody understood the importance of Instagram in being known and being seen. So you can find mostly every yarn brand has an account on Instagram, and I think it's easier for you to reach out and just send a DM and say, okay, this is what I'm making, or what I want to make with your yarn, can you please send me, or something like that. Of course, that your account needs to have something related with yarn, with what that brand is selling or doing. And you don't have to be actually a designer to ask for yarn. It's simply they are really interesting, and more people to show their yarn and use them, that you don't have to be a designer. Simply, if you are a maker, if you're a knitter, if you crochet, if you're doing stuff, you can ask for yarn. I'm not saying that every yarn brand will be open to this. Oh yeah, of course, I will love that. But I'm saying that it's not difficult to obtain yarn, and maybe at this point where I am, it's easier for me. But I don't want you to do my mistake, because I was shy, I was ashamed to ask for yarn. I was only tagging the yarn brand into my makes. I will use this yarn, and I was tagging their yarn brands, waiting for them to reach me back and say, oh, you did something nice, don't you want some yarn from our side? Of course, this can happen as well, because it happened in the past with me, and I was only having a few designs when Hobby reached me out and want me to collaborate with them. But they were small at that point. They weren't that big as they are right now. This happened like almost 6 years ago. So they were looking for these types of collaboration, and it was easier. What I'm saying this because lately, I think since Corona or something, it started all this influencer thing with other products. I don't say that it wasn't before, but now it's more like a brand. I'm an influencer. It's like something you're doing, and yarn brands needed to align to this trend. So now they are looking for influencers as well to show their products and so on. They don't have a specific program for that, like maybe in other brands or something like that. Some of them do have, and most of the things that they are offered, because they are not they won't pay you for that, but they will pay you in yarn. So I will say to reach out, whatever you have in hand. If you have an email address that you found on their website, you can send them an email, send them an idea, let them know what you want to make using their yarn, and see what is their response to that. Maybe they won't give you from the beginning if you have only a few things that you work, if your account is not full of photos or short videos with crochet projects or crochet things. Maybe they will reconsider that, but you never know. Maybe they don't even look at your account or something like that. Maybe they just love what you want to make on the spot, what you sent into the email, your idea, and they will send it to you. So yes, you will need to reach out. Don't be afraid that you will be rejected. Even if you will be rejected, this is not a problem. It's not because of you, it's not because your work isn't beautiful. It's just because they don't have this right now. Maybe they are not in a marketing campaign right now, so they are not able to provide yarn except the people with who they have contract already or something like that. So it's not an opening marketing campaign where they are sending yarn no matter who. So if you're rejected, this is not your problem. This is not, it was just the entire environment that didn't work for that moment. But you will have to keep doing this, because at some point you will find someone, even if the same brand that rejected you, and you can find it. For example, I send an email to Lion Brand Yarn, not because I'm really happy with their yarn, but because I saw that I have so many people from United States, from Canada, following, trying to find my patterns, and for a while it was so difficult to find the yarn that I'm using being available here in Europe. So I was thinking that if I'll have a collaboration with them, they will provide me with yarn, so it will be easier for me to make my patterns in a yarn more accessible to US and Canadian people. But they didn't answer back, not even now. And even if I used a few times the yarn, is just because I found it on the internet, on eBay or Amazon, and it was cheap without huge shipping expenses, so I ordered that yarn. But yeah, now I'm more into trying to design things with more easy system. I don't know. Sorry. To make my projects being easy to use no matter what type of yarn. So substitute. The yarn that I used to be easy to substitute, and then it will be perfect. So this is my focus right now, not necessarily to use their yarn, but they did reject me. I mean, they didn't reject me because I never got an answer from them, so it's fine, don't worry, it's nothing wrong with you. It's just that you simply don't align with their needs, because they have needs as well as a company brand, as a yarn brand. Then another thing to connect with yarn brands, it might be to attend some expos, because now they are again, after Corona, started to have those events, and maybe it's a good idea to just if you want to go to such an event, and if it's possible to go, because some of them might be B2B, so you need to be a business for that, register as a business. So you can show up there, you can attend some nice workshops, you can go and chat with yarn brands, and maybe in that discussion you can say, you know that I'm designing this and that, and maybe you will make connection, and this will help you in future to get some yarn or some collaborations. So these are my thoughts about it. I don't know if it was helpful. I hope yes. So if you have any questions regarding this subject or topic, and you want to discuss even more about it, then I will be happy to come here again and discuss about it. And yeah, I'm feeling weird while doing this, and maybe I'm looking weird, sound weird, because I don't think, even now, I don't think that I'm the best person to give advice about how to start this journey in designing, because I consider myself as I don't know if a good designer, but I like the things that I design. So I really love them. So I think I'm a good designer, but I don't know if I'm a good example for someone out there, because my journey was like this, and still is. I had so many doubts at point that I wanted to give up, and not because I didn't like what I was doing or something like that, but just because it took me a long time to consider this a job, and to try to put to set my boundaries, to say, you know what, I'm staying at home but I'm working, even with my daughter, with my husband, and with everybody else. I needed to make them understand that I'm working, I have a job, only that is this one. And yes, I am at home, but this doesn't mean that I am I'm not doing anything. So it took me a lot of time to think about myself like this, to trust myself, to have confidence in myself. And just because of that, it took me a lot of time to show up my face in here, to, I don't know, to talk about this. And maybe I still don't have that full confidence in myself and in the fact that I can teach other people on how to start this journey. But I hope with these talks, because I feel awkward, but I'm not, it's like I'm just telling you like with a friend how I did it, and maybe this will inspire you. I'm not saying that this is the best practice that I have, but maybe it will inspire, maybe you'll try it and it will work for you as well. So yeah, I will give you all the resources in the description box with the yarn console, where you can find standard body measurements. And I hope this video was useful for you. Please let your thoughts in the comments. I will be happy, even if I'm not answering each of them, because you know I'm a busy mom, and it's difficult for me to get through every each comment, but I will read it, and please let your thoughts. And of course you can use the link, the Google form, if you have any suggestions and questions and that you will want to talk about. So yeah, this was it for today. I wish you everybody have a great week, and see you next time. Bye.